just got to check my hair after if you're videoing.
Yeah, it's
okay?
fine. It's fine,
It's
Tracy.
okay?
It's fine.
Hello.
Just tell people German, then they can ask.
Sorry?
If anybody has got any questions.
Absolutely. I might stand this side. Is that going to cause any drama? Given that we have people this side. Good afternoon. I'm Tracy from Australia, so I'm apologising for my English. However, my colleagues down the back speak German, so if I'm saying anything too fast or you would like to ask a question in German or have it translated, please raise your hand and ask, because we can do that very easily. I'd love to be able to speak German, but I only just learned Hemp. That's my first German word, Hemp. You would think I'd know that before I came. So welcome to today's presentation. And firstly, I will be introducing myself, and then I'll be going over some of the different hemp products that you can buy. And there is a lot of confusion in the market about hemp and what it can do for your horse. So when I say hemp hype, that's about the magic bullet approach, which says that hemp fixes everything, and I'm here to tell you that it does not, but it is very good. And it would be nice to be able to decipher what is good about hemp and what is not so good. I will go over how it will benefit your horse, the things it can't do for your horse because there is no magic answer, and then I will go through a little bit of information about CBD and how CBD can help your horse. This is a little about me. I did horses when I was quite old, so my first horse at about 35. And I struggled getting correct information because everybody who has a horse has a different opinion and they all think they're right. So I went and studied equine science so that I could get some information for myself. This is me up in the corner. I trail ride. I'm not a great rider. I wave at my horses a lot because I get so busy. Over here I practice my help on my daughter who competes. And I love all of my other animals. I breed and show Great Danes as well. So, first and most important information about hemp is that there is hemp and there is then the medical and recreational cannabis. By definition, hemp has less than 1% THC. Now, THC is the cannabinoid that causes the psychoactive component. So if anything is called hemp, it has very little amount of THC in it. It has to, by definition, have less than 1%. Our hemp, for example, tests at around 0.02%. So it has no psychoactive effect on the animals or people if it's called hemp. So that's the most important definition. You do not have to worry that your horse or animals will get high. Because I'm not sure about you, but I'm not sitting on my horse who isn't thinking right. I have a hard enough time staying on him when he's sensible. So why is there so much hype about hemp? The hype is because it is such a sustainable plant. And we can use every single part of the hemp plant, from the roots to the leaves to the stalk. There are so many uses, and not only is it very useful, it's obviously 100% natural, can be grown very organically. It grows quickly, and it grows quickly with less water than many other plants that require this. So we can harvest hemp plants quite quickly, with a small amount of land and less water than many other plants, and it has so many uses. It has fibre, it has husk, it has seed, it has stalk. There's concrete being made out of hemp products. So this is a plant that we do need to explore the uses of even more because of the great benefits of it. So again, we've got the leaves and flowers, the roots for some medicine, compost, insulation, concrete, building materials, as well as nutritional value for both us and our horses and our dogs. The first thing I'll talk about is hemp bedding. Hemp bedding, we don't see a lot of at the moment, and it is currently a little more expensive than our normal bedding. But hemp bedding has absorbed 6 times its own weight in moisture. So this alone is great. The horses don't like to eat that part of the hemp, so it's not palatable. But it's soft, it's lightweight. The most important bit is it's quite antifungal and antibacterial. So not only will it absorb the moisture and clump it for easy removal, it also neutralizes the urea or the urine. So the smell isn't as bad in a stable, and it's less bacteria in it. So hemp bedding is something to keep your eye out for. That's a growing area. You can use, if you want the gold standard of bedding, then the whole stable in hemp bedding. If you want to just put some in, you can mix it in with other bedding. So that's one of the very helpful uses and one of the good things it does for horses. Now let's look at breaking down the parts of the plant. And the first part I'd like to break down is the seed, because the seed is incredibly nutritional. However, when you buy a hemp product, it's important to be able to differentiate or discern between the parts of the hemp that are in the product, because they all have different benefits to your horses. We have the hull, or the husk of the seed. In itself, for horses, this is a great benefit because it still has quite a lot of protein, but it is very high in fibre. And we all know that our horses require more fibre, less sugar. So the hemp husk in itself, nutritionally, is really good value for horses. We then have the heart. So the heart is the seed itself without the husk. That seed is nutritionally very high in protein, also very high in oil. And I'll go through the nutritional value a little bit more later. The hemp meal and protein are after we've taken the oil out of the seed and we crush it all. So again, still very high in fibre, very high in protein, lower in oil. So when we manufacture the different hemp products, we can determine which product we want more fibre in, which we want more oil in, and which we want more fat or protein in, sorry. I get myself caught because I speak slowly and forget where I'm at. I think I speak slowly, probably fast. No? It's okay? Great. And then the hemp fines are part of this processing that are left over and are just small parts of the leftover processing of the hemp. Still highly nutritional. But it's important when you look at the back of your product, what people are putting in their hemp product. It's not just all hemp. Now, what about the rest of the plant? The flowers and the leaves are where we get the cannabinoids from. So the cannabinoids, one of the most prominent cannabinoids is CBD, cannabidiol. That's the one that gives us the medicinal effect with pain and anxiety, etc. And it does the same, exactly the same for our horses. The important thing to note here is when I say cannabinoids, there are many, many, many. How many are there? 40 odd cannabinoids? 184, Arthur's the expert. 184 different cannabinoids. And science is only just beginning to work out the individual benefits of each cannabinoid. So actually having all of the cannabinoids in a product is a really, really important thing. And we call this a full spectrum product. Not only is the full spectrum product is the entire plant. So if you're buying a product and looking for something particularly CBD, getting a full spectrum product which is the entire flower and leaves, will give you not only cannabidiol, but it will give you all of the cannabinoids, all of the terpenes, and all of the flavonoids. Now the terpenes are other chemical compounds that give flavours and aromas, like the terpenes in lavender that smell like lavender, or the cannabis plant has one called limonene, which smells like citronella. These as well, all together in exactly the right proportions of a plant, give what science calls the entourage effect. The entourage effect means that for a small dose you get a bigger effect, and they think this occurs because it's all in the exact proportions of the plant. So when looking for a CBD product, having full spectrum will give you a better benefit than having what is called a CBD isolate. A CBD isolate means it's only the one cannabinoid on its own in a carrier oil. Now we get a little tricked with this because normally if somebody says it's an isolate, you think it's better because it's the compound that's isolated that you need. But with the cannabis plant, we want the whole flower and the whole full spectrum approach. So that's why the isolate often doesn't work as well as the full spectrum product. And I know myself, I've had people try stronger CBD products, but are not full spectrum and have less effect than a low dose of a full spectrum product. So that again is a really important bit to understand. So what are the benefits of hemp for horses? Firstly, nutritional. Okay, so we talk about the CBD product later with the pain and anxiety, but hemp seeds are so highly nutritional for horses. They're really terrific. They're a great source of protein, and I'll go into that a little bit more, but they're also a really good source of omegas and fatty acids, but not quite as good as many of the hemp companies will tell you, and I'll explain that as well. So hemp and protein. Protein is made of building blocks of amino acids, and each protein requires particular amino acids. So it means that if you give a lot of protein that's low quality and it doesn't have the right amino acids, your horse still can't build muscle. The horse needs the right amino acids, and the analogy I use here is Lego blocks. If I gave you 200 Lego blocks and asked you to build a protein out of a green, a yellow, a red and a blue, but out of those 200 blocks, I only gave you 3 green blocks. You can only make 3 of those proteins. So this green block then is called a limiting amino acid. If the horse doesn't have enough of the lowest amino acid that it needs, it's a limiting amino acid, and you can use as much of this protein as you like, and your horse cannot build the muscle protein. So the limiting amino acids, the 3 highest ones in horses is leucine, lysine, and methionine. Hemp is very high in these. So hemp's amino acid profile for horses is almost perfect. The closest is soy as well. Soy is also a great amino acid profile for horses. However, it has its own issues. It has phytoestrogens, which sometimes we don't like to feed mares because it's a hormonal product, and it can sometimes make, I've heard it actually making mares not as fertile as well. And soy also has trypsin, which is an enzyme that can irritate the gut. But in saying that, soy is a good protein for horses, but next to soy, hemp is the closest in the best amino acid profile. So you get to feed much less for the protein benefit. It's also very good to use topically, so you can put it on wounds. And that's not necessarily, CBD is very good, but just the hemp nectar on its own is really good and very healing and very calming topically. And it's a good just source of energy. If you want to get energy into your horse in a small amount of feed, then adding oil is high dense energy. So you can use the high protein oil to give a lot of energy and a lot of nutrients to horses in a very small amount. This is an example of a horse that used CBD. This is topically a CBD oil. If you've seen your horses have baby papilloma or warts, and the vets don't normally like to treat them because they do go away on their own in 6 to 12 months, but they're also contagious and they're not very pretty if you're going out and showing your horse. This is a friend's horse who had these warts, and I think the laser, oh there you go, it's working again. Had these warts, and 4 weeks apart of topical application of CBD, just rubbing it on, and they're completely gone. So, you know, guarantee, no, there's different results with different horses, but it is very, very, very effective topically on eczema, wound healing, etc., with none of the antibacterials that stops the skin healing. So one of the big things is that hemp does not have the perfect omega balance for horses. Many hemp companies will tell you this. This is one of the reasons that I'm so proud and happy to be associated with Hemp Pet, because they allow us to tell the truth about hemp and not particularly lie about hemp being wonderful for everything. With people and with carnivores, it's a great omega profile. And this is the fatty acids to omegas are similar to the amino acids I spoke about to protein. So what we really need is a really nice balance of omega-3 to omega-6. The omega-3s are a precursor to anti-inflammatory compounds. So these promote reducing inflammation. The omega-6 does the opposite. It transforms into components that create inflammation. Now, they need both omega-3 and omega-6. We need inflammation. We need inflammation for wound healing, for fighting viruses. We need them. These are both essential. However, what we really want is an ideal ratio of about 1:1. Now, in a horse's natural diet, which is very different to us, they eat a lot of green leafy plants, and their diet is already quite high in omega-6, especially if you're feeding grain. If you're feeding grain, your horse has quite high omega-6. If you're feeding any oils like a rice bran or a vegetable or a canola oil, again, your horse is getting a lot of omega-6. So adding hemp on its own to this is not going to balance that. Hemp has a ratio of approximately 3 or 4 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. So although it's a great source of these, it needs to still be put in balance, because the horse creates, they kind of compete. The enzymes compete to create the compounds we need. So if we have too much omega-6, the horse will struggle making the anti-inflammatory compounds it needs. So the ideal solution is adding other ingredients to hemp. So you can, buy the complete hemp and add some other ingredients, or again, buy products that have got the other ingredients in it so it's slightly better balanced for horses, particularly if you've got older horses that are working hard and get, if you do a hard work, a hard show jumping round or something, you don't want pro-inflammatory feeds. You want anti-inflammatory feeds, because inflammation is the enemy of the joints and the tendons. So this is quite important. The other thing, and probably the last thing I'll touch on, is not all hemp is created equal. I've been lucky enough to evaluate lots of different hemp products, and they have different levels of omegas and different levels of protein and different levels of nutrients, vitamins and minerals. So hemp companies themselves work very hard to create cultivars or strains that are ideal for the animals that they're creating products for. So buying hemp from one company may not equal buying hemp from another company because they work really hard. Here at Hemp Pet, they have their own hemp fields. So we have a large hemp field in Australia and in Europe. Rather than transporting all of it from there, we have our big hemp field in Poland. So the products that are made for Europe, we formulate in Australia, but source ingredients here. So the cultivars that they have created, they hold, it's almost like you hold those, it's like getting a perfect rose cultivar. You hold that very dearly. So it's not a matter of each hemp company and project being the same. Have we got some products, Arthur, that you can... Oh, look, here we go. So just as we close up, for example, I have a few products here that I'm lucky to have been able to have some influence in. With the muscle repair, obviously, like I said, if you're working a horse very hard, you want to replenish the muscle, but you don't want inflammation. So with this product, for example, we have created some omega-3 additions in the ingredients. So we have some linseed, some chia, some things to balance that omega and help recover the muscle. Because the other thing is with a working horse, it's a bit like people. If you've been to the gym and done a hard workout, to reduce fatigue, taking in protein within 15 minutes of your exercise helps recover muscles and reduces the muscle fatigue, the pain in the muscles the day after, and giving protein immediately after a workout can do that. And also this is going to help seniors, etc., putting weight on and gaining top line. And again, because of the quality of protein, you're more likely to feed less of this protein and get muscle build. So this one we market a little bit as a muscle building, muscle repair, and also post-exercise supplement. This one as a gut support. We've used, like I said before, more fibre, and we've added different fibres so that we can cater for all of the microbes in the gut. We have green banana flour, psyllium husk, and some chia in that as well to balance the omegas. So I'm very lucky to be working for a company who doesn't make me stand up here and tell you that hemp on its own is the gold standard for everything. CBD oil, very quickly. I love CBD oil, and you're very, very lucky here because in Australia we have to access it through vets, and here you can buy it retail. CBD is magnificent for pain and particularly anxiety, and our horses suffer from anxiety a lot. You know, they're separating from their friends, travel, taking them out. So one of the things I like about using this is that it's a great training tool. I use CBD oil on my horses when I go out to a lesson, because quite often I spend a lot of money on a lesson and then the first 20 minutes calming my horse down, and it's very annoying. If I use CBD oil on him 30 minutes before the lesson, he rides out like he rides at home. And it's just the worry is gone, just the anxiety is gone. They're not tired, they're not sleepy, they're not sedated. So they get to learn, and then next time I can use a little less. So they get the behavioural experience of not having any anxiety, and they get used to going out and not having anxiety. So that works really well, and it's also exceptional for pain, arthritis, pain and joints. This is just an example. The endocannabinoid system is the system that the CBD works on. It actually acts and connects to receptors in the body, and they're where the receptors are on a horse. Every animal has an endocannabinoid system, much like our respiratory system, our circulatory system, but the endocannabinoid system has not been studied quite as well. but it is starting to be studied now, and there are many, many studies about how the CBD actually connects to these CR receptors and create the response. So we're starting to really get some good science behind this as well. I have much more science if anybody needs any, but I always get told I do too much of that. We're in this hall on D39, so come and have a chat, have a talk to me in general about hemp, but come and have a look at our products as well. Thank you for listening.